Hi guys, welcome to another video. I just wanted to show you how this media pushes Israel's agenda, 3 points based agenda. Every single time you see them on news or even news reporters or any channel, whether it be CNN or BBC, Fox, all the channels, they have literally poured so much money on them that they're pushing Israel's agenda, and anyone who comes on their show and tries to basically speak against the agenda, they start blaming them for these three things. Number one, they say you are anti-Semitic. Number two, they say Israel has right to defend itself. And number three, you are anti-Zionists. So basically what they try to do is they try to intimidate people who come on their show to tell the truth, and because we all know they don't like truth. Let's watch this video and see how this guy from Pakistan is foreign minister of Pakistan, Shah Mehmood Qureshi, how he responded, how he basically handled the very nasty questions put forward to him. Let's watch it. So before we start, I just wanted to request you a few things. Number one, if you haven't subscribed and this is first time you're watching this video, please do subscribe. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also leave your feedback in comment. And first, very important thing, that you must watch this video till the end. This is very important because right to the end there is something very important point I will be making, and so did Shah Mehmood Qureshi. Thank you very much for watching. Let's get started.
Shah Mehmood Qureshi took to the podium to demand aid to be allowed into Gaza and called for an end to, quote, Israeli aggression.
A just solution for Palestine is imperative for the maintenance of regional and global peace and security. Clearly, the onus for restoring peace rests on Israel.
And the Pakistani foreign minister joins me now from New York. Mr. Minister, thank you so much for joining us. It has been a very busy day. From your end, do you hear any talks about a possible ceasefire coming anytime soon?
I am convinced the tide is turning. I am convinced the public pressure, the pressure of public opinion is mounting, and ceasefire is inevitable. Israel is losing out. They're losing the media war despite their connections. They are losing the media war. The tide is turning.
What are their connections?
Deep pockets.
What does that mean?
Just look at how her face dropped. I mean, she wasn't expecting someone to be that blunt, because it doesn't go in line with their agenda, her master's agenda. Basically, she was reading a script, and now someone has come on our show who is basically going to ignore every question she poses to him, and he will stay focused on every single point he wants to raise to international media and to the world. So that she did not like throughout this video. You will enjoy this video. Hopefully you will enjoy it. I never seen someone so focused on this issue specifically, because the international media, especially CNN, BBC, Fox, and likes of these channels, they are pursuing an agenda which is heavily funded. And the script, basically, the reporters read the script, is so confusing. It confuses the person who they're posing the question to, that the person is unable to focus on the actual issue. But this time she faced someone who is really focused and who kept the cool and answered the question bang on the reality and truth, and which they don't like. They don't like the truth. They don't like to hear the truth because it goes against their agenda. And when something goes against their agenda, they lose the plot. And exactly what happened throughout this video, that she couldn't keep the focus because it wasn't according to her script. Let's watch it.
Well, they're very influential people. I mean, they control media.
I would call that an anti-Semitic remark.
I mean, are you fool? Are you an idiot? I think I am. I think she is, because I mean, how is saying that Israel is funding media anti-Semitic? Please, someone explain it to me. How is this anti-Semitic? You know why she thinks it's anti-Semitic? Because she has been given a script to read, and that's why she wasn't expecting this kind of answer. Okay, and it goes against what she was expecting. Now look at her reaction, how her face dropped, and because she wasn't expecting this kind of answer. It's not anti-Semitic, let it be clear. Saying that Israel is a terrorist organization and who's killing innocent children and attacking hospitals, schools, mosques, and media outlets is not anti-Semitic. Set the record correct. Maybe it would be a good idea to ask the person who wrote the script for you, change the script a little bit, yeah? Because it's not going to work with this guy. Let's watch.
Well, you see, the point is they have a lot of influence and they get a lot of coverage. Now, what has balanced that is the citizen journalist who has been reporting, sharing video clips, and that has jolted people and that has woken up people, and people who were sitting on the fence are today speaking up. Do you see how in different capitals of the world, in London, in Madrid, in Michigan, Chicago, every place from Sydney to the...
Guys, understand the power of social media. I'm making this video to bring the awareness to people and give my opinion, my input on this issue. And I hope you like what I comment on many questions she asks. But your duty is just give your input, even if it's the tiniest bit. Don't think that it's small. Just keep sharing. Share this video if you like the content, and if you like what Shah Mehmood Qureshi has explained the issue and kept the cool. Do share it, please.
European capitals, people have come out and saying, put an end to this insanity. They're calling for an immediate ceasefire. Now, the Security Council has failed in forging a joint statement and coming out with a joint statement and forging a consensus. The General Assembly today is giving a clear message to the Security Council. It is your live up to the UN Charter.
But Mr. Ambassador, can we not separate the fact?
Just watch and listen how she turns things around. And they are master of it. Yeah, they use these three things against anyone who speaks out the truth. That is how they stop you.
That there are calls for peace and for equal human rights for both sides, for Palestinians and for Israelis, without anti-Semitic talk and rhetoric. And we are seeing an increase in anti-Semitism throughout the world. Many of these protests are showing signs and images of anti-Semitism as well. Shouldn't you be condemning that?
I will not justify any rocket attacks.
Someone needs to tell her that, saying that, Israel is killing innocent people and Israel is funding media is not anti-Semitic. It's absolutely not anti-Semitic. Basically, they try to confuse you with these three things because they know that, how sensitive these matters are, and especially anti-Semitism. And if they use that card, the person who is in front of them obviously will feel pressurized. But I'm glad how Shah Mehmood Qureshi responded to this question, and he basically said that, F off. Yeah, I don't care. I am basically unhearing your question because your question is not legitimate. What I said is not anti-Semitic. And it wasn't anti-Semitic. I mean, saying that, Israel is funding media, how is that against Jews? Or how is that against anti-Semitic? I don't understand. And obviously Shah Mehmood Qureshi really tackled the question very nicely. Just let's move to next point.
and I cannot justify and I cannot condone the aerial bombardment that is taking place.
But what about anti-Semitism? And what about Hamas's role in stopping the rockets?
See how she is basically just pushing on that one point, anti-Semitic. I mean, that's like, it's like a script she's reading. Throughout this video, she's just keep repeating anti-Semitic. There was nothing in this interview Shah Mehmood Qureshi said one word about being anti-Semitic. And, it's going to get interesting, yeah, how she will be told off further down in the video, yeah. Just keep watching, please.
I am saying, when you do not engage, when there are no negotiations, when there is occupation, when there's genocide, when there's war crimes, when there's ethnic cleansing, then an extremist element takes advantage of that situation. Avoid it. How do you avoid it? You avoid it by pursuing a two-state solution, by adhering to the Security Council resolutions, respecting them, implementing them, fulfilling the promises that have been made and have been often broken.
Finally, someone is not taking it from them. I mean, how she tried to push the agenda of anti-Semitic, because she knew that, if she doesn't push that agenda, he will start talking truth. And that's how they confuse you not to actually talk about the real agenda, real problem. And real problem is that, Israel has killed 230 innocent lives. They have bombed schools, they have bombed hospitals, they have taken down an international media cell where Al Jazeera was present, yeah. So that's how they confuse people who come on their show, so that they don't talk about those things. And let alone that, they are not basically talking about how did this recent chapter of conflict started. It's not even conflict, yeah. How it started about 13 days ago, when Israeli police attacked Al-Aqsa, and they shoot on Palestinians who are basically protesting against a judgment which basically said that they have to get out of their homes because it belongs to Zionists. So that's where actually it started. I mean, it's not about Hamas firing rockets on Israel or anything like that. I mean, it's like a retaliation. They were protesting. Israeli police basically shoot at them and attacked Al-Aqsa, lit a fire on Al-Aqsa, and only then Palestinians retaliated. And when they retaliated, then and only then international media likes of CNN, BBC, and all other their puppets who they have bought, yeah, they started talking about, condemning Hamas retaliation, not attack. I wouldn't call it attack, because it wasn't attack. Attack was when Israel done to Al-Aqsa and Palestinian people when they were praying on the holiest night of holiest month, Ramadan. So they were peacefully praying, and Israeli police attacked them, and on the peaceful protest against the judgment came that Palestinian has no right on Sheikh Jarrah. So the matter is basically that's how they confuse you. Just let's watch the next point.
So I believe that the answer is Israelis and Palestinians living side by side in peace, and it can only be done through a two-state solution, through negotiations, by cessation of hostilities, and a ceasefire is the first step in that direction.
Does that include condemning?
I mean, how cleverly he simply didn't answer about anti-Semitic agenda she was pursuing, and see how she continues. But again and again, the foreign minister is basically saying in simple words that I don't care how many times you tell me that I'm being anti-Semitic, because I am not, and I'm not going to basically go to your agenda. I will keep talking about the truth. and he kept it focused, focused on the issue. He did not deviate based on her question, and she kept posing the same question again and again. Just watch how she does it.
Anti-Semitism and condemning statements.
I am not justifying any of that.
You began this conversation. I am so sorry. There's so many things I want to talk to you about, but I personally am offended as a journalist. You began this conversation by saying that Israel, suggesting that Israel has, quote, close friends and powerful friends in the media. That is an anti-Semitic trope.
No.
I mean, how is that anti-Semitic? Only a thick skull who is paid to say that. Only that person would say it. That's anti-Semitic. She doesn't even understand what it means, what anti-Semitic means. She has no clue whatsoever. I bet that she has no clue. She's just saying what she's told to say, and she's pushing the agenda she's asked to push. That's all she is doing. She does not know what she is saying, and I can guarantee that. Let's watch it.
No, what I'm saying is the perception. Look at the perception the world has. You cannot ignore that, ma'am.
But that
is very clever. I mean, if media doesn't be biased, there won't be any perception like that. If media does its job how it should be done, then I mean, nobody would say that they are biased or they are bought by Israel or Zionists. Simple as that. I mean, the responsibility lies on media, how you report events, and if you don't talk about 230 innocent people killed, and including them 59 innocent children killed, and all you talk about is 10 Israelis being killed, then of course questions will be asked. Of course people would ask that, what is it that you guys are not talking about the real issue? So here it is. Let's go. Let's watch this.
the wrong perception.
Could be wrong, but that's the perception. Negate it.
Well,
negate it. By giving a balanced coverage, negate it.
The onus is not on those who are being accused of things that aren't true.
Of course it is. Because when someone commits a crime, it's up to them to prove their innocence. It's simple as that. I mean, it's not something it's done in hiding. It's open crime. So it's your responsibility. You need to be balanced. You need to be reporting the truth, whatever that may be. You need to report truth. Today's media has a responsibility to report truth, nothing but truth, and no agenda, no funded agenda. And here it is. She is simply not talking about the issue, not talking about the peace talks, not talking about the attacks or anything like that. I mean, the talk should be about what has happened past 11 days or 12 days, or what has been happening since 1947. But look at, this is how they play. This is how they keep you confused. So you don't talk about the real issue. And she kept talking about anti-Semitism, self-defense, anti-Zionism. That's all she kept talking about. Let's continue.
It's on people like you in powerful positions to say that that's wrong.
Well, what we are saying, what is wrong, and I'm not shying away from that. What I'm saying is, this insanity must come to an end. We must promote dialogue. We must sit and talk, and we must promote peace. Israelis and Palestinians, everybody has a right to live. They have a right to protect their children. Look at what's happening. 230 innocent people have been killed. More than 50,000 people have been displaced. 50 schools have been bombed. Hospitals have been targeted. Red Cross has been targeted. The AP office, media outlets have been targeted. And what they're saying is, okay, if you think there was Hamas presence there, why don't you have an independent investigation?
I'm so glad that someone, at least finally someone, kept it focused, kept it to the point, and did not let the journalist, like other people, guide his conversation, what he wanted to say. He said it what he wanted to say, kept it focused, kept it to the point, and kept it to the actual real issue, despite she kept basically interrupting him and also confusing him with being anti-Semitic. And that is exactly what every person who appears on these media outlets should do. Ignore their funded questions, ignore their funded agenda. Just say what you got to say, because they will only give you 10-15 minutes, or even in some cases 5 minutes to speak, and speak the real issue. Don't be confused. Ignore their questions about these, like anti-Semitic self-defense and blah blah blah. You got to be focused. Like this guy, I'm really impressed the way he came across, despite she pursuing the same question, posing the same question again and again. And even if that question has nothing to do with the conversation or the issue past 12 days has been happening. Let's continue.
Well, I believe that Israel did provide in some information and shared intelligence with the U.S., but let's go back to the other side, because
okay, so yes, Israel provided some information. What is that some information? Does world has right to know what that information is, what intelligence they had? Yeah, that that gave them the reason to attack civilians. Still, even if they were Hamas, like army there, they had no right to attack civilians and kill 233 innocent lives, including 59 children. Okay, schools being attacked, mosques being attacked, medical facilities being attacked, media outlets being attacked. I mean, come on. Were all of these captured by Hamas? And Hamas is not a terrorist organization. It's politically elected party in Gaza Strip and West Bank. So do not keep this rhetoric that Hamas is terrorist organization. I personally feel that Israel is a terrorist organization because they have been funded by US $80 billion fund. $80 billion in last decade. Come on. I mean, that was under FMF, US foreign military funding, not even sales, funding. Okay, to what USA says that it's to achieve common goals in Middle East. What are the common goals in Middle East? That they have to supply $80 billion worth of arms to Israel, a country which is tiny, small country. What goals they have? Ask yourself this question, and I have the answer. I know the answer. The common goal is to take over the entire Middle East and build greater Israel. Simple as that. Let's continue.
there are obviously Israeli casualties as well. And I keep bringing this up because if you're going to be an honest broker, then you have to approach something like this objectively, and that doesn't seem to be the place where you're coming from.
Well, for your kind of information, he is objective, because if you look at it, how could you compare 9 Israelis being killed, yeah, and 233 innocent lives taken in Palestine side? How is this justified? This is based. There is no comparison. I mean, one organization is nuclear power. The other is basically simple rockets, and they fight you with stones. Come on, how can you justify this? I mean, you should be ashamed of asking this question. Honestly.
Well, I am objective, and I would want to be objective. Loss of life, I will not condone. Every life, every human life is important to me.
And what about you can agree, we can agree that Palestinian lives.
Basically, now she's lost for words. She has no agenda left. She knows now by now that he's not going to take bullshit from me. So now look at her, how she is basically slithering. I mean, her words are not coming out of her mouth because the agenda has failed. And that is exactly, I would advise every single person who appears in front of them, be it CNN, Fox, BBC, wherever you appear, just stay focused. Talk about the real issue. Ignore the questions, because as long as the question is about these three things actually. Number one, you're anti-Semitic. They will say to you straight away, as soon as you open your mouth against Israel, they will say to you, you are anti-Semitic. They will say you are anti-Zionist. They will say Israel has self-defense. So has Hamas. So has Palestine. Okay, it's not only about Israel. Israel has been occupying Palestinian land, not other way around. Simple. Let's continue.
Lives and Israeli lives are equally important.
They're important. Yes, they are.
So let me move on to another area, and that is the Uyghurs and the Muslim community there, and some 2 million Uyghurs. Many in the U.S. and many other countries around the world are calling their treatment genocide. And I'm wondering why we're not hearing the same from your government.
Well, my government has always spoken with frankness. You know, China is a very good friend of Pakistan. They've stood by us through thick and thin, and we have means of communication, and we use our diplomatic channels. We do not discuss everything in public.
Now the focus is changed completely. I mean, she has nothing else to say. There's no agenda now. I mean, agenda is failed. And now it's like, the scared puppy, puts his tail in between his legs and just starts running. That is exactly what she is doing now. And watch this again, yeah? This is quite important.
But China being your friend aside, and I know China provides a lot of aid, you can't just turn a blind eye to human rights abuses in one country.
Nobody
when we've
is.
spent
Nobody
so
is.
is something being, are there discussions behind the scenes? Is your Prime Minister, Prime Minister
ma'am, there's always a way of doing things, and we are not oblivious of our responsibilities.
I'm so glad that he said, it's none of your business. We are talking about it between two countries, China and Pakistan, talking about it, and they have talked about it, yeah? And we don't have to discuss it in public. Who the hell are you? I'm not answerable to you. As simple as that. I mean, I'm so glad that finally someone can basically knuckle them.
So what needs to be done then to the Uyghur community around the world that is listening to you spend a lot of time talking about human rights in Gaza, question about their same legitimacy to human rights as well?
Well, we have been advocating for human rights, whether they are in Gaza or in Indian occupied Kashmir. Look at the atrocities that have been committed in Kashmir. Does the world talk about it? How many people have talked about it? Let's be fair. Let's have a fair assessment of how much coverage has that got.
I mean, once again, look, this guy, I love it. I love him. I love him so much because he kept it focused. I mean, if you're going to shift from atrocities caused by Israel on Gaza and go to Uyghur Muslims or Uyghur community, I'm going to bring Kashmir up. I mean, your mouth was zipped when the atrocities was happening in Kashmir. You haven't uttered a word about human rights. So you're not in a position to talk about human rights because you're not in a right state of mind. You are only funded and you're only saying what you're asked to say. Simple as that. You are only reading the script. You have no power.
Mr. Ambassador, I do want to turn to the pandemic, and we'll end.
I'm not ambassador.
I'm sorry, Mr. Foreign Minister. Let me turn to the pandemic and ask about the latest wave that we've seen.
I mean, come on. One of the biggest outlets, CNN. How could you not know that he's not an ambassador, he's foreign minister? I mean, really? This shows that, they don't have focus. They prepare for the script. The script Someone gives them, they prepare themselves only for that. And when that script is not followed and the person who is sitting in front of them does not let them follow that script, this is what happens to them. Okay, so I'm so glad, and hats off to you, Shah Mehmood Qureshi, the way you spoke and responded. Let's continue.
In your country, in Pakistan, we've seen an increased number of cases there and deaths. What is being done? How alarming is that? And what does your country need to help in this fight?
Bianna, to begin with, Pakistan has managed, under the leadership of Prime Minister Imran Khan, the first wave and the second wave reasonably well. We're in the midst of our third wave. Now, if we draw a comparison of the situation in Pakistan and next door, look at the situation on the, what our eastern neighbors facing, there's a huge difference. There are over 4,000 casualties on a daily basis.
There's no winner. I'm not pitting you against India. I'm saying that every loss of life is a tragedy.
Absolutely, it's a tragedy, and we are sympathetic, and we offered help. I offered help. We said, listen, these are human lives. We're in the same region. We are willing to help. They did not respond, but our offer still stands. What we are doing is
Yeah, so no matter what you say, you will get proper answer, not a confused answer. Yeah, your agenda has failed. Thank you, Shah Mehmood Qureshi.
doing our best to bring the positivity down, and what we need right now is vaccine. We've been gifted vaccine by China. We have bought vaccine, but the vaccine that was promised to us through COVAX did not come in time. And what we need is inoculations to protect our people, the marginalized people, the paramedics, the doctors, the people who are on the front line. So that process is going on. The numbers are increasing, but we need help.
Mr. Foreign Minister, thank you so much for your time. I would just ask you personally to please avoid you.
Just watch this now, and this last point really took my heart, and I really love the way he responded. And it's absolutely, that is exactly how you should respond, because one thing is clear from this video, that no matter what, all they care about is pushing their agenda. And their agenda is what? If you talk against Israel, you will be labeled being anti-Semitic. If you talk against Israel, you will be tarnished. You will be accused of things. And I love the way he responded. Just watch this last point and you will be glad to hear him.
Using anti-Semitic tropes that you used at the beginning of our conversation. I think they are very...
I have never been anti-Semitic, and I never will be.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad he was point blank. I have never been anti-Semitic and I never will be. What you are saying and what you have been saying for past 10 minutes or 11 minutes, it's bullshit. I have never been anti-Semitic. So basically, like they say, they try to label you with a lie. You simply have to refuse it. Simple as that. Ignore it. You don't have to comment on it. And I love the way he said he has never been anti-Semitic and he never will be, because it's clear what he said is not anti-Semitic. Only a thick skull who is funded and who is reading someone else's script will say that it's anti-Semitic. It's not anti-Semitic to say that Israel is killing innocent children and Israel is, basically doing exactly what Hitler has done to them. Hitler has done to Jews in Germany. So Israel is trying to recreate Holocaust, but this time the only victims are Muslims, not Jews. Okay, we are with Jews, we stand with Jews, but Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism, nothing whatsoever. And Israel has nothing to do with Jewish state. It's Zionist state, simple as that. And I don't even call it a state. It's not a state. Israel is foreign funded terrorist organization who is capturing Palestinians' land, who is killing their children, who is attacking mosques, who is attacking schools, hospitals, media outlets. So basically, it's simple as that. It's Israel who is terrorist, funded by USA and UK. I hope you liked the content I brought to you. If you did, leave your feedback in the comment section below, and also subscribe to my channel for more videos. I will be posting videos like this on a regular basis. Let's raise voice together. Every bit helps. Don't think that if you're going to share this video to your friends and family, that isn't going to help. It is going to help, because it's all about awareness and speaking out and speaking the truth. And I did my part, only a little bit, but I did. I consider it that it's like they say, for evil to prevail, yeah, all it matters, all it's needed is for good men do nothing. So I don't want to be among those who do nothing. I want to raise awareness. So if you like this video and many more videos, then please share it with your friends and family, and also comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in next video.